So you've decided to attend your first opera. Congratulations, I'm so proud of you. You're going to step into hearing the human voice in a different way for the first time ever, and there's nothing like it in the world, so I really hope you enjoy this experience. But there's so many things to consider, like what time should I go? What opera should I see? How much am I gonna spend? Where should I sit? What should I wear? No worries, in this video, I'm gonna break down everything you need to know about attending your first opera. Hey, Cassandra here with Opera Appreciation for Black and Brown folks, and on this channel I work to make opera equitable by teaching you how to appreciate a little bit more opera in your daily life. So, you've decided on the opera that you want, but now what are you gonna wear? I like to break these things down into two categories: build your own adventure and come as you are. Now, why do I say that? Because I think that this music is there to be enjoyed. Just because it's been regulated to white spaces for a long time doesn't mean that non-white spaces can't appreciate what opera has to offer. The human voice is universal, emotions are universal, and everybody should be able to sit down and enjoy an amazing show that makes you feel transcended and expanded and filled with joy or whatever the emotions are on the stage, regardless of the color of your skin. Why do we like to dress up for these shows anyway? You want to be looking your best. And that's why I find that a lot of performers and artists and people that attend the opera tend to dress up at the beginning for opening nights and closing nights. Now, everything in between is up for debate. And that's where I say you can come as you are or choose your own adventure. All of the countless rehearsals and the endless hours that we spend diving through this music to deliver this great art gets to be honored by our presence and showing up with our best selves, because that's what the musicians are doing on stage. And to be met with that is something that it just feels good as a performer. Like, yeah, thank you so much for coming out and supporting me, because this was hard. This wasn't easy. We making it look easy, but it's not easy. And opening night, a lot of people are celebrating that. So you want to come on out and just enjoy dressing up and feeling great about a celebratory moment where all of these moving parts come together in perfect union and harmony, and we make amazing music. Now, closing night, it's about celebrating the fact that you're coming to the end, and it's also your last time to be together with this crew of people or experiencing this show for a while, because music and art is cyclical. Sometimes we have things that run for a certain period of time and then they're done. But now there's so much to consider of where to sit. Remember that singing is about sound. So you're going with the intention of hearing the human voice unamplified. And the thing about the human voice and the thing about sound is that sound likes to bounce off of hard surfaces. FYI, singing outside is the worst place to sing because there's nothing to conduct sound. It's like just air, just and it flows away, and there's nothing to help focus the sound, which is why we like to sing in theaters that help to amplify that sound, because sound likes hard surfaces, but sound, when it's around soft surfaces, it gets absorbed into them. That's why singing in churches that have a lot of like cushy carpeting and cushy pews is terrible for the singer, because the sound gets sucked up by the cushioning. When we are in theaters, the theater is set up to help carry the sound. So when you're in the theater, it's best to be in the center, because in the center of the theater, regardless of where you sit, whether you're way up high or all the way down low in the orchestra, you still don't have anything obstructing the sound. So everybody says that sitting in the orchestra seats is the best. And you know what? It's the best in that you get to hear everything, and you're definitely going to see a lot and hear a lot, but depending on how sensitive your ears are or how attuned they are to what you're about to watch, you might decide to go in a different direction, which would be the balcony. Depending on the theater, they might have a gallery or a balcony, or they might not, depending on how big or small the theater is. I like the balcony because I get to really see everything on stage. Remember, opera is an audio and visual art form. sound, just like movies. And so let's say you're gonna go see The Avengers and you wanna see all that action happen on a big IMAX theater, then you would choose to go see it at an IMAX theater and maybe not a smaller theater because you wanna get that full experience. And the same is true for me when I'm choosing an opera that's maybe of grand scale, like Aida, because they have the all of Egypt that they're trying to show and the pyramids and stuff. That's really hard to see when I'm sitting in orchestra seat and I'm like, just like when you're sitting in the movie theater and you're right at the front and you're like, oh my God, I'm staring up at the screen. Yeah, it's really hard and your neck hurts. And that's how I feel about all that, because again, the singers are focusing their sound up and out. And if I'm in the orchestra, I kind of feel like I miss that. Now, let's say you're like, well, that's a little bit too much for me and you want to go even further. You can still get clarity of sound. And in fact, I love going to sit in family circle or in the very back of the house sometimes, because I'm personally wanting to see how well that singer is actually doing. I want to see if they're singing to me in the nosebleed seats and if their technique is really working, that I can hear every consonant and every vowel and every expression without necessarily needing to see their face. But if you like to see their face, you can bring your opera glasses, your opera binoculars and be like, ooh. But otherwise, just enjoy the fact that you are hearing everything as clear as a bell, because the house is really helping to carry that sound and the singer is doing their dangdest to make sure that you hear everything that's going on. Now, if you sit off into the corners in family circle and you're sitting near the corners where the hard surfaces sort of bounce off that hard surface and bounce back into you, that's actually a really great place. It's actually probably the best place to sit in the house because you get the best sound. I personally love it. So box seats have a very interesting history because it's connected to social status and it's connected to whether you had the money to pay for the privacy. It also was an opportunity for the elite to come out and play. A box seat meant that you had one side of that box that was open out into the theater that you could just enjoy the show. But then on the other side of that box was a separate area where you could have a social engagement with the other people that were there. Also, because the box seats are specifically on the sides, the box seats faced each other more so you could really see who was on the other side and kind of had that intrigue or an opportunity to meet somebody new or to give off the most recent salacious gossip or to be there to see the salacious gossip unfold. There were so many things happening behind the scenes. Now today, boxes, again, they vary from size and they're not always as expensive as they once were. So boxes now have more space and more leg room. There is some privacy element because you're not as connected to the people that you're sitting around unless it's the people that you're choosing to have with you in the box. So now you've decided what you're gonna wear, you've decided which opera you're gonna choose, you've decided where you're gonna sit, but now you've got to get to the website and decide, oh my gosh, how am I gonna buy these tickets? Now, if you're going to a local theater or if you're in a metropolitan area, check out their website and see what they offer. Each city and each opera house does things a little bit differently, but for the most part, they keep things the same in that you can buy maybe group sets of tickets, or you can buy things that are at a discounted rate if, say, you're a student, or if you are a senior citizen, or if you're going, you can get cheaper tickets if you go on matinee days, just like with movies. So be mindful of what your budget is and what is available at that theater, and just know if you're going to more local theater or like a troupe that's coming through town, sometimes those local theaters will have discounted rates or they'll just have things that serve what's unique to the community. So it's always good to check out their website and see what they have to offer so that you can choose appropriately for your budget and what works for you. But just know that most operas are about 2.5 hours long and that you're gonna spend anywhere from $30 to maybe $70 if you're going to something local. And if you're going to something even more smaller, like a smaller opera company within your neighborhood, you could spend anywhere from $0 and just show up and get some free opera. There might be a donation where you spend $20 or $25 or $15 or whatever you feel is generous for you. But just know that there's lots of ways to have affordable operatic experiences without needing to break the bank. Okay. Final thing to consider, and this is specifically for my folk who know anything about CP time. When it comes to theater, being late, it just doesn't work, man. It just doesn't work. And here's why. because we're focusing on the sound, and that's the most important thing. When you have somebody coming into the middle of the show and you have all of their moving and their whatever, that obstructs the enjoyment of the sound because there's something else happening. Now, when that happens in the movie theaters, it can be annoying and a little frustrating, especially if the people are like taking a really long time to get to their seats and it takes you away from enjoying the show, but you can still kind of stay with the show for the most part. But when it comes to seeing an opera, because we are so focused on making sure that we're enjoying the sound, ushers won't let you in if you're late. But the reality is you just won't be able to get into the show until there is an appropriate moment to enter, when there's maybe a lull in the music, or there's maybe a scene change, or maybe there's just a moment that's an appropriate time where you're not going to be causing too much of distraction to the other people in the show while you find your seat. All right, guys, that's my share for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like today's content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe below. And this is Opera Appreciation for Black and Brown folks, making opera equitable. See you guys next week. Bye.